hype, but actually you can't let that in the booth. You need to shoulder that out now.
Yeah, there's I've heard like a lot of captains talk about like being able to remain cold when you're in these matches, right? Because outside of OG, Dota is best played in a more calm, intellectual, just playing with your brain.
I'm with you so
and
far.
Being able to understand that you don't want to get too much in the emotions, don't want to overextend yourself off of getting one kill, thinking you would get 2 or 3. You have to be able to be aware of all of these elements, all of these little variables, all these little math numbers that are running at you. You just have to be able to feel that game. And in order to do so, you have to remain calm. But OG has shown something different. And I think TI is a different tournament as well. GH said that TI is all about who chokes and who overperforms.
Yep.
And so far, we have all of our teams who have been overperforming. OG, LGD, and Liquid, I think, to each their own, have overperformed. I mean, Liquid started off with such a rough group stage that there's no doubt that they've come into the playoffs and overplayed their hand a bit.
Yeah, 9-0, Grant. That's when it's like, they've had a good run.
Yeah.
It's like 7-2, maybe 8-3. 9-0 is insane.
I mean, the fact you're in the losers bracket and you're undefeated on the main stage is just pretty unheard of, honestly.
Yeah, it's an incredible. It would be a record as well. I mean, it's already a record.
It is, yeah.
How far they've gone. They finished top 3. No team's ever done that from the first round of the lower bracket. It's insane to think that they could actually play in the final.
They definitely could. I mean, they have the momentum. That's the thing. As we talked about, PSG.LGD, they lost in the other bracket. They lost the last series they played, while Liquid they did the stomp. Yeah. They stomped Secret in the last series they played, so momentum is definitely always a factor.
How much did PSG pay attention to that? Because I don't think they necessarily would have thought they would end up playing Liquid at this point in the tournament, would they? After the group stages?
After the group stage, absolutely not. But you're kind of, when they looked at that Liquid Secret series, they're obviously considering both opponents very highly. They're probably looking at it more from a draft and strategy perspective about what heroes Liquid's prioritizing, how we're going to deal with the Alk, because obviously OG beat them with them. Now they're versing Liquid, who will also first 2 pick it. So a lot of those key heroes are going to be what they're focusing on when looking at those games.
Yeah, not too far away from our first draft. Let's turn our attention to a few of those key moments. Cap, the other one's got to be the IO Gyro, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know.
Get rid of it. Don't let them play.
I mean, Alchemist surely isn't going to be showing, but is IO going to make an appearance?
Both teams play too.
Yeah.
I mean, but Liquid haven't shown it as a carry.
They haven't.
So it's a GH special, no doubt about that. And they have paired it with the Gyro consistently. So is that
Gyro by himself even has been like really strong at this tournament. We saw yesterday maybe attempt to carry the game with his mid gyrocopter right against OG. Yeah, I don't know. There's draft definitely a lot to talk about, but I'm actually interested in what our panel I haven't actually heard. Do you guys have a favorite for this series, one way or the other? Because it's really hard to say, right?
Yeah. No, I'm with Casey. I told you earlier when she said, I want all 3 games. I kind of do for the different reasons, but I'm still, for me, I want FY.
Guts?
My gut says Liquid.
Does it?
They're run. This 9-0 run.
No, I get it.
It just feels like everything is clicking for them. To me, they're in the lower bracket, like what OG is in the winner bracket, where it just feels like nothing's going to stop them. And then those 2 teams could match up in the grand finals, and it's going to be I don't know how that goes down, but
that would be TI7 winners versus TI8 winners.
Oh man, and that's it. Liquid. I mean, they're undefeated. How do you go against a team who hasn't lost a game on the main stage? That's numbers.
No. But in Dota, though, you often think the other way. The longer the streak goes on, the more likely it is that it'll be broken, don't you? Because it's rare teams win 2-0. Most Dota tournaments, the big ones anyway, it's 2-1 because of the way that the flow and drafts and everything else works.
I agree, and I think the biggest thing is I honestly do, before we got into these last couple days, I thought OG and PSG.LGD were way above everyone else. Sure, Secret, EG, they're good and all that, but these teams look so dominant in the winner's bracket, and then slowly Liquid was creeping up. So I think it is very even, but I just can't bet against undefeated.
Okay, Cap, you asked the question. Where's your bet?
I'm leaning with LGD here. Sorry, say OG. I'm leaning with LGD here, actually. Just something about as Grant said, they had such dominant performances in the upper bracket. I can forgive the Alchemist. You lose to it twice, it's whatever. Shake it off. You see if you could beat it. You can't. Okay, you learned something about it. Now you're gonna go clean up Liquid real quick in the lower bracket and get your rematch against OG.
Okay. So you think this is a PPD play against CDEC? It's exactly what Peter did in the upper bracket final. Gave him what he wanted to see if he could beat it. Figured he couldn't. Got that information ready for the final. You think that's the PSG way?
Better to get that information now than being 2-0 in the grand finals, right?
Yes.
Or 0-2.
yeah. Being 2-0 in the final would be quite a good thing. I'd be quite happy with that. And in terms of the approach the Liquid take to this, as God said earlier, they're quite chilled, I guess, because they've done so well. But is it not? Does that not change the closer you get? Because you kind of go, oh, we didn't really expect to be here. Now we're only one game. Does that not come into your brain a bit?
It's every team. You get further than your expectations, you're still disappointed. RNG talked about it. They just didn't want to get past the best of ones. They didn't want to get bottom 4. And in their exit interview, they still said, yeah, we went past that, but we're still disappointed even without top 8. Secret yesterday, they got 4th place. That's the best Team Secret's ever done TI. And still, they're not happy with that. I don't think any of these two teams playing here are going to be happy with a loss. You always want to go one step further.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, third place is not where you want to finish at TI, that's for sure, because you want to play in the last game. OG sit here, they're quite happy right now. Chilling, watching these two teams. They've already said they quite like a crack at Liquid in the final. But I don't think they're disappointed if they get PSG. They've got their number right now.
I'm sure, especially because we will say it, after game 1, when OG won, they did get booed a little bit. I mean, then when they came back out, they saw, they're like, wait, this is helping them, I think. No tail throwing out the hearts over and over. No one can really boo OG. Yeah, it's so hard, and they're just sitting back, and they do not care who they play. Sure, they might want Liquid, but they're like, we're going to beat whoever we see.
Seb with the call-out.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore, crowd.
It's like the most lovable team in Dota getting booed. I loved it. I'm a big OG fan because they've got Nausea on their team, but seeing them get booed by this crowd because they want to see LGD win, that felt like being in a sports arena.
It did, right?
It was
and I know there's been some criticism online. I've seen it. I've had plenty of it on my own timeline. Thank you very much, and I don't want any more. But it is kind of legitimizes it in some ways. If you ever go to a Barcelona game and they're playing another team at Barcelona, guess who they boo? They boo the other team. It's not disrespectful. It's just the opponents for the day. It's like 90 minutes of rivalry. You're my enemy for 90 minutes. Afterwards, we're fine, right? And it's the same here. All the Chinese people that we've been around are super friendly, super helpful, super nice. They're all massive Dota fans, but in particular, they want to root for their hometown team. I don't see anything wrong with that.
They care. They love Dota, and they care, and they love their teams.
Yeah, they do. But they've also supported plenty of the players as well. They've all got their favourites. Anna is massive out here.
Yeah.
The fandom, Jack was explaining it to me the other day, he is absolutely huge in China.
They welcomed Liquid in this series with applause. A shout out to any of the Western viewers who have come over into this. We actually just saw it on the Chinese stream. There was a couple from Finland who is just in the crowd shot. And he's just a sea of LGD shirts,
two Jerax
flags,
fans, all the
LGD
way.
is invincible, everything. And I think that's one of the best parts of TI for me in the past has been the hardcore Chinese contingent that always came over to watch the games.
Absolutely.
Right? And they would all back themselves behind the Chinese casters, and they would be a little bit quieter, but the volume they came out from that section whenever the Chinese teams were playing, that was just amazing. They were able to rival the Western audience in so many ways, and now they vastly outnumber the very few foreign audience that is here. But
So it's a very much an international event, as we said earlier on. 37 different languages taking the feeds over this main event. A week of 6 days of competition here at the International 2019, and plenty of different ways to watch, including binoculars. It seems nice. Love the tablet memes. They're always out there as well. I like the LED signs as well. The scrolling LEDs, they're quite fun because you can pretty much do anything you want out there as well. Great to see the crowd having a little bit of fun. I hope you're having fun at home as well, wherever you're tuned in from. I know it's been a challenging time in terms of time zones, but you know what? You've been spoiled because the previous 8 time zones have been fine. You can forgive one, I'm sure. And we're obviously moving towards our first draft of the day between these two teams. Looking ahead a little bit as well, we've already mentioned OG. They're chilling out right now, no problem at all. Strategically speaking, who have been the stronger of these three? Because OG, it feels like they're running on memes or something, or fuel of some kind that's nothing to do with the actual Dota.
Rainbows and flowers.
Exactly,
and power
right?
of friendship.
Absolutely, right? It does seem a bit out there with stuff that they do. But in terms of strategic, who's been the strongest of the three?
I would say PSG.LGD. They're just a very strategically sound team. You know, their coach, 357, brings a ton of experience and, you know, strategy to the table. They're just a very formulaic team in a lot of ways, and they've, to me, were ahead in a lot of those OG games. They lost that series, but it wasn't because they got outdrafted.
Right. That's just, almost that's a rival back to last year's fight. It felt like they won 4 of the 5 games, and yet they lost 3-2.
Yeah, that was something crazy about that series and the upper bracket finals. I just remember constantly thinking like, oh, LGD has this, and then, you know, just a little bit of impatience. We saw it in the upper bracket finals here yesterday as well, where LGD was ahead, and certain decisions like around the Roshan pit, where they chose to contest Roshan despite knowing the fact that they couldn't really do it. They end up giving up Roshan and the Aegis, and they give away 3 heroes as well. Like, maybe you can give up the Rosh, maybe you could take the fight, but you can't lose both, right? And that just was such a blow that it just ended game 2 almost immediately.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit opposite of Gods. I feel like Liquid has shown, I know LGD, their drafts are a little more stable, but I've seen Liquid, they've pulled out more strategies. They've shown, like, if you ban this, we'll play this. And I feel like people haven't really pushed PSG.LGD out of their comfort zone yet. And Liquid, they've been all out of their comfort zone with the Wisp getting banned. They can pick it up if it's not. I feel like they just have a little more diversity in their pool, and maybe it won't come into play. Maybe PSG.LGD will just get that tied, and then they're going to play, and they could just win.
And it's interesting, actually, when you look at the heroes picked. OG are right in the middle. They're in the middle band. PSG are right at the bottom in terms of the amount of heroes. They've had 38 heroes played at this event, which is third lowest. 57 for Team Liquid.
That's pretty crazy, and it really does go to show.
I mean, I think it proves Grant's point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure, as always. Our first game just moments away, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to head to our draft panel and introduce you to the lower bracket final.
PSG.LGD versus Team Liquid. Game 1.
Folks, before we even start talking about the series, before we even start talking about the draft, I think we just look at this TI as a whole. We look at some of the things that already happened, because so much history has already been etched into those clay tablets, those tomes of Dota history, and you have an entire region having their highest placing of all time. You have your longest losers bracket run. The question is, what else are we going to see? Are we going to see a 2-time champ? Are we going to see a back-to-back champ? This series is going to shine a lot of light onto that, because first of all, how long is this losers bracket run going to be able to go?
Seriously, not just a run, but undefeated. Talk about a real road. This is a different type. Imagine, like, we talk about Secret, losing yesterday to the same team, Liquid, 3 years in a row. What's crazy is that Kuro, he's been in this sort of position before as well, but as a winner. To win TI7, they went through the loser bracket. They ended up with a 3-0 in the grand final. Like, they just killed it. They've got to be building in confidence, you'd imagine, as they progress.
Dota's a game that's so easy strategically to drop one draft, to mess up one time in a crucial moment. And to be 9-0 even in the group stage would be insane. And they're 9-0 at the main event, taking games like series from teams like Secret. These aren't 9-0 runs against the middle-class teams of TI.
Yeah, they are on an absolute tear. I think there are a lot of heroes for anybody who is just tuning in for Championship Sunday, maybe hasn't gotten to take a look at groups or what's happened here thus far at the main event. There are definitely some heroes that we think about instantly. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be one who's going to be talking too much about what we expect in the draft panel, but I know that Alchemist is good.
I was like, do I need to throw it to that? Because you'd probably know that, Alk is probably what you need. I don't want to see that hero at all today.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, we don't even need to talk about it.
Well, I feel like one of the other heroes that we haven't been talking about as much recently that I feel really is kind of in that tier in a lot of ways, though, is the Enchantress, too. Do you think that we could be seeing some Ench today, Kyle?
It's possible. I think of all the power heroes in the meta, that's the one that's most solved. It was super popular as well during Liquid's TI7 run, but more importantly, it's not the same in the sense that it's a lane dominator, and the impetus, as you said, it's gone, but Liquid first picked Tiny.
Okay, so last series against OG, LGD had first pick and banned IO. So people have been talking about that they can play IO, but the fact that IO's been mainly played as a core in the deciding games, LGD hasn't proved that they can do that. It doesn't really seem like Ame's style, and I think Liquid's almost saying, calling the bluff. You know, we picked Tiny, one of the most sought-out heroes this meta as well. Are you going to be willing to pick IO in such an important game?
I don't think so, because after the change with the Ags to Ally going from 15 to level 20, the IO Gyro of PSG.LGD, that was their bread and butter, and it's just not that same power level anymore, but as a core, that's when it starts to look sick. Elder Titan, arguably the best support on the patch.
Best laning hero in the entire game. The one change I didn't know about that Fog just couldn't stop talking about is that a Spirit gives you armor.
Yeah.
And strength heroes in lane that have
around like a mid Rubik or something. We've seen it in the past, but you're most likely just going to have to make do with Rubik ET as your 4-5.
Overall, stylistically, I think a lot of the analysts have been saying when you look at LGD, you said that this is a team that's playing textbook Dota at the highest level, right? Like they don't need to recreate, come out with any cheese necessarily. They're going to just be able to do what you would expect a team to do, but they do it the best. Do we expect to see that in this draft?
Absolutely, but you need this execution level in the late game. They're going to need some way to make team fights simple for them. Maybe some reliable way to shut down the Void from getting his chrono off. Because if that chrono goes off, whoever's in it is going to die. And that just makes the game, like, you're operating on such pins and needles.
And we saw Liquid do something similar with the Wyvern last pick yesterday, where they were playing up against this Mag, this high physical damage lineup, but they had that trump card, the just combo break that would deal with the huge AoE ultimate. So in this scenario, I think it's PSG.LGD you've got to look for something like that. And unfortunately, again, it's the supports. They already have them selected. So unless they want to do something unconventional, you're in a rough spot. And I love the bans from Liquid. They take out arguably the two best strength-based initiators that are mid and maybe's comfort heroes. It would be an excellent counter to the Void. You tank through the chrono, as you said. You can't really... You have to stay inside of it, so you need survivability.
Yeah, and also Kunkka, the X, is really good against Void's escape mechanism, so it's almost this dual... Like, you have the initiation factor that shuts down the Void from those two heroes, and also, like you said, if you get them in the chrono, it doesn't necessarily mean they die.
Right, eating ships, not going to be a worry now that they get that out of the way. What do you expect to see? What holes need to be filled here, Kyle?
That's a tough question, Rich. They take out the Lion. This is the turn, probably the most important part of a draft from the second pick position, because last pick usually have a lot of time remaining. You know what hole you're looking to fill in your draft. Whereas here, you have so many different ways to go because there's heroes you might want, but now, as an example, you take Centaur, you've revealed that this is your offlaner, you've got the support combination, there isn't much role versatility remaining. They're going to look to just save their course for the last two picks and counter what they feel like Liquid's doing.
So just to reiterate that, if you're looking at, as like probably out of all the analysts, I'm probably the second lowest MMR or something like that, when you look at this third pick, do you go, okay, this is when all of a sudden we start to see where the chips are falling? Is this really that pressure point?
LGD has kind of just said, this is how we're going to approach fights. They've given you a lot of damage, the disengage as well as the engage from your Centaur ultimate, but they haven't really said, this is how we plan to win the game. This is what scales us into the game. All these heroes are kind of enablers to whatever is going to be picked.
And it's cool because you look at the different philosophies where Liquid, they just come out and they 1-2 pick their 1 and their 2.
Yeah.
PSG.LGD, they're, as you said, setting up the rest of their draft, whereas Liquid's like, look, we know the concept that works. As God said, I really love the point. OG approaches Dota as an art. Liquid, it's a science. They are very, very prepared. They boot camp by far longer than any other team, and it's no surprise they're here.
And also, if we're going to call Liquid scientists, they've definitely been in the lab. They've played so many games on the main stage already, dropping down to that lower portion of the bracket, facing elimination, and just 9-0 to get here. And I actually spoke to Puppy yesterday after he was eliminated, and the first thing that he said was, my team got better in the loser's bracket.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Liquid will be able to bring today.
I love this Mirana pick. I was thinking to myself, I wanted a support that would make my job as a Void easier to get a chrono off. And when you're Mirana Invis, it's just hard for them to ever go on your Void.
Yep. And when you have the superior team fight, it's also important to ensure you have some sort of hero that acquires vision. Mirana, you scout with arrows, sure, but it's more about the Invis. So if you have a terrain or just any sort of engagement that Liquid have more information, there's no save for the chrono right now. There's an arrow follow-up. You're going to be able to 100-0 a target, no problem. You just need to be sure that you are the ones actually initiating the engagement.
Yeah, and it's even nicer with Mirana nowadays because you play it as a 4 for people who haven't been keeping up with the tournament. It's a hero that was first banned almost all throughout the group stage, and as the tournament's gone on, people have been like, okay, well, now we can't really deal with Alchemist anymore. Now that's kind of taking the slot of Mirana, and being able to pick up such a high-value hero in this meta third in the draft, I mean, it synergizes well with the Void as well. The guaranteed setup for arrow. You're going to most likely pair it in lane with something that sets it up. The most popular has been Ogre throughout the tournament, but obviously first round banned.
And I always like to kind of try to take a peek into what we think the game's going to look like. First, let's talk about this gyro.
I like it. I'm a big fan of mixed damage cores when you're playing with an Elder Titan. The Spirit increases magical damage, the Hero, the physical. So late game, you get up close and personal. Doesn't matter if there's BKBs, that gyro is going to be doing tons of bonus damage thanks to the minus armor. But early mid game, a Spirit, a Rocket, the gyro, Q, the ultimate, it's so much damage.
And typically, especially even if you haven't been following Dota as much this year, I mean, you go back to maybe like the CQ Major, and it was obviously still very popular. When you think of Gyro and Io, they're basically the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie of Dota, right? This is just a power couple, and you typically did see them together. But when they're separated, they're still pretty dang good, especially here in this meta. We've seen Gyro by itself quite a bit, and Io all of a sudden becoming a core. It definitely has become quite iconic to see both of them by themselves. And when we've been talking about Io even, we're not necessarily thinking about the gyro.
Yeah. I would love to see something like an Oracle coming out for Liquid. It's really good in laning against Centaur. You can purge the Retaliate buff, and there's so much magic damage. Having a save on a hero like Void or Tiny, I think will make their fights even easier. It doesn't necessarily have to be that exact hero, but I personally would prefer the counter initiation aspect because you have so much reliable damage if you can get it off, that as long as one of your main cores doesn't die right at the start of the fight, I have to envision fights will go in Liquid's favor.
And to Rich's point about like the history going into this game, right? You've got already FY Rubik. You've got maybe who beat me like 4 years ago at TI5 with the mid gyro. Ame also exceptional at it, and they're looking to go toe to toe with Liquid in the early to mid game. A fourth pick Tinker. They did this the other day.
Yes, they did. The damage in Chrono is almost, it was already there, and now it's really there. Gyros doesn't like to play against heroes that punish you for running in, and Tinker probably on my book is like the #1 on that list.
And you look at it, Gyro is the main source of your damage. The PSG.LGD lineup, it's all about setting up this hero to do maximum DPS. Liquid, you now have tools. There's no counter to Chrono right now on the Radiant draft, and this is very dangerous because if the game goes late enough, it's child's play. Your Chronosphere the gyro, you kill him.
Well, that's the big thing that I do want to bring up. You say if the game goes late enough, how long is it going to take for something like this Tinker to really get online?
I don't really think it's going to take that long, to be honest. Once he gets a blink, he's incredibly survivable this game. He is going to have that fragile window where he gets the boots, like before the boots of travel, before the blink comes out, that they have so much gap close with the Centaur that all these heroes can get on top of him. But once he gets it, I don't see how they kill him.
It's less, I think, about killing Tinker, more about trying to take his tier 1s early.
Yeah.
Something the Alliance guy said on panel about this Centaur. You want to play away from him for the initial 8 to 12 minutes of the game. Let him shove waves, let him tank towers, hit them back. If he can kill tier 1s, as the other heroes of PSG.LGD can rotate around the map, make Wee's life difficult, that's going to be a big edge for them. If you leave Tinker towers to teleport to, it becomes harder and harder to push out lanes and actually take any sort of objectives, which buys so much time for Liquid.
I do want to go back to that Rubik as well. I feel like if you're just hopping in, watching right now, and you've watched TIs, you know that face. I think that this is just one of the most picked heroes at this tournament, period. And by product of that, one of the most winningest heroes that you can lock in. And if it's not broke, you don't need to fix it.
Indeed. And the beauty of it is we've seen him make such incredible plays on this main stage already. The FY Rubik, the game, iconic, where he stole the Phoenix Egg after Supernova to get it off, turn around a big engagement. The Void's going to have to be very careful because if you don't time dilate after Chronosphere, FY is real quick. He says he's only got 3 to 5 years. He's already been here for 5. And
Wait.
I love...
Shadow Demon is still in the draft, 9th pick. This is a hero. Like, you have the setup. I even like it almost more than the Oracle. I said I wanted a save, and now it's not only just a save, but like you said, in the early to mid game, it's a nice, reliable, low cooldown setup for the arrow. That Puro is one of the most buzzed heroes in all of Dota, in my opinion. And I guess sometimes when there's just all these heroes going up in value throughout the tournament, these heroes get forgotten.
Yeah, and mind control, right? Oh. There's your Tinker counter right there. All of a sudden, PSG.LGD, they've got this excellent team fight, and as soon as you get in to the point of the game where Spectre can just go straight for Tinker, they have so much damage, so much vision control. That's a really cool 22 pick by LGD.
If you can get past the early to mid game on Spectre, the Shadow Demon does cause a lot of issues that early on, but if you get past that stage, you are the be-all, end-all counter.
And you can toggle the Radiance too, right?
Absolutely.
So Shadow Demon, you will not be able to steal it. We've seen Ame go multiple different builds. Can go either way, but this is one of the more balanced drafts I've seen so far on the main stage. This is going to be great.
All right, so we're liking what we do see in the draft on both sides, but to really shine a light on how both of these teams can potentially win, we are going to go to one of the glowiest brains in Dota. Purge, what are your last words?
Well, it's an interesting draft on both sides. Both teams got almost exactly what they wanted. On the LGD side, they ran a very similar draft to what they played against earlier against OG. It was an Elder Titan-based lineup with lots of magic damage. They opened both supports early, followed with a Centaur. This basically kind of leaves the other team, Liquid, in the dark. But Liquid also got everything they wanted. They opened with the very strong Faces Void Tiny combo, which seems very broken in the late game, maybe only less broken than the IO carry. A hero that was surprisingly ignored in the draft. And then they also followed up with amazing Mirana combos. Mirana with Faces Void is ridiculously good. The fact that they got Shadow Demon with their last pick was exactly what Liquid wanted. You couldn't design a better draft there. But on the other side, that LGD last pick with the Spectre was so excellent. It's going to give them a hero that can get on top of the Tinker, which is really what they need. Because if Liquid's able to delay the game and keep themselves covered with Chronosphere, it's going to be really easy for them to keep getting their tiny combos. So without further ado, let's hop into the first match of the lower bracket today. Let's send it over to the casters.
Oh, we are so ready for this. I just live to hear balanced draft come out of the drafting panel. Sind, do you feel it too? Do you feel like both teams are in for a chance here in game one?
Well, and on top of all that balance, Purge just sent it to us with, I think, half a second left, so also perfectly balanced there. Maybe it's just a balanced day. The suits are balanced among the hosts. Like, everything is just the way it's supposed to be. And yeah, I agree, though. This draft is great. I actually thought LGD were kind of in trouble until this last pick Spectre. And if this would have been banned out by Liquid, I'm wondering where LGD would have gone with this, because we've seen Liquid play this lineup with the Tinker Void. If you can't take towers and put pressure early, they hit this mid-late game timing where their team fights are ridiculous and you're constantly struggling with your waves. But Spectre fulfills multiple roles in this game. It can get on top of the Tinker. It can outscale LGD or Liquid's heroes as well. And they have both the Spectre and the Gyro to go into the late game.
Kuro's going to say no in a bit. The arrow's going to fly forward. Perfect stun. We're already beginning our lower record final right here with a max stun duration. Challenge will go down. Weehara is able to laser him. The crowd's starting to get behind LGD as they brought 4 heroes towards.
Yep, and it also means too that Team Liquid, they're able to move their lanes around, but they're going to run Miracle as this Faceless Void on the off lane, working with the SD and Mirana combination. The panel was saying very, very simple. They can transfer this anywhere they need to, but it means that, LGD had to be a little bit careful. They still took a lot to get through Chalice, so he's heading towards the safe lane for LGD. So it won't be the easiest kill on the safe laner. But this now allows LGD to push Ame into the offlane, harassing Mind Control down, who is nowhere near as survivable as the safe lane Centaur, especially when ET is keeping the Spirit right on top of Mind Control, feeling the pressure hard.
Well, Chalice.
Here we go again.
Walk out.
Disruption, arrow, perfect long time stun. Deep support's coming in from X-Nova, but how much can he really do to help out? Chalice taking so much damage. Miracle in his body, block him up with the illusions of Kuro. both times.
Going to walk top. He's not even TPing to get to the tower.
Are they thinking that Liquid will change the lanes on him, or?
Maybe he's keeping his options open, and also just since the wave is not accessible right now anyway, he would only probably be getting deny experience. So maybe it feels like it's not worth it. He's going to walk up here, and it gives them a bit more rotation potential since they already TP'd X-Nope top. If they also TP Chalice, Liquid can basically do whatever they want with the lanes. So they're keeping it safe in case of adjustments.
Up out Kuro is now chasing the Spirit. It's like, I know where he's going to be. Marana, stay with me. Centaur's going to come as well. Disruption up on top. Somnus is going up to Weeha. The arrow is tanked up by Charles up on the top lane. So X-Nova protected by that Centaur.
Somnus really wants to go for the kill. He put in a lot of damage into Weeha. He's going to homing missile him now. He could just dive him here. I think they're dead.
Yeah, he's got second level rocket barrage. Weeha's going to... will not be enough. Somnus brings him down and really underestimates the damage from the gyro.
That's so big for Somnus too. He's playing against a hero who got first blood. It's innately unfavorable to start off this lane, but now he's ahead.
This just never ends. The easiest combination of Liquid's life. They'll take Chalice once again. But we're starting to reach the point of diminishing returns. He's 0 for 3 on this Centaur, not a single CS, 2.5 minutes in, and this time he TPs out to the lane.
Yeah, because this time there's immediate experience in the tower, and they're pulling with Elder Titan. When you're playing an aggro tri-lane kill lane like this, you need to get multiple kills to make it worth it. Because Far sharing the experience among 3 heroes, and in the meantime, this bottom lane Spectre having a good time together with Rubik. But now they've shifted around. They don't want to stay as 3 anymore. I think this is a good time to swap things out for Liquid. But it also means that now Chalice will have a very easy time. Shadow Demon Void, what are they going to do to you as Centaur? You're just going to free farm now in this lane.
Yeah,
but they slowed him down.
Without the Marana arrow stun there really isn't that much you can do against him, but they needed to bring something down here. Ame was just getting free farm. And FY, always a dangerous thing. FY's Rubik is insane without farm. It's incredible with farm. I don't know if that's really an upgrade in descriptive words.
I was about to say.
But it's just cool. Anyway.
It's cool with any farm.
Yeah.
And Control taking some big damage bottom. He has no regen left. GH can give him a tango, but Mind Control will either die or need to use the courage in the long run down here. So they can keep harassing him out, especially when FY finds level 3 soon. A big increase in damage on Fade Bolt ramping up. And Mind Control is hoping to find a rune with the bottle that he wants to purchase at minute 4, but Ami's not going to let him get the rune.
No, the Weeha's over and
get it. 2 heroes that want the rune, but actually Mind Control probably wouldn't have taken it regardless. He just wanted to buy his football. Let Weeha have the rune, but there's no rune.
Yeah.
It's a double damage.
Yeah, Gyrocopter grabbed that one from top river. Mind Control's still ready to find on bottom. It's now the biggest combination. It's a level 2 on the tree throw. The arrow is able to connect over on Ame. So some chip damage, but you've still got Ame with 6 stick charges and the healing salve. Even if you feel like you're getting a lot of damage in, this is still a Spectre.
Yeah, they're not killing in this lane without an extra hero coming in. He's going to use his 10 sticks just to be able to build up more, get full value out of these sticks already.
Stuns coming out from top lane. Kuro getting a lot of damage. Charles from great hooks on X-Nova with that plus damage. And the captain of Team Liquid, Barry fires up, tries to make it run towards the through line, but it won't work. Turns instead for the catcher to actually help out Miracle. If you get a couple more back, Charles may be in trouble, but all this happens with the 5 minute runes going on, and Mind Control dies down in the bottom lane. FY and Ame comboing together.
And LGD are going to get 4 runes too, Toby. This is a huge win for them. All 4 runes, Chalice survived, and they got 2 kills. LGD just came back in this game in a big way. Came back, it's like they were behind. I mean, it was even, but they took a lead rather.
Yeah, it was 800 was the net worth, 5 minutes in that Liquid was able to ensure, but yeah, with the kill and the runes, it swings the way of LGD. Same for the experience.
Currently 4 wards on the courier for LGD, flying out. Might drop them on FY here and let him make a little bit of a movement with smoke. They're not going to smoke. Maybe yes, maybe no. Nope, not smoking.
I was actually wondering about the movement from LGD. Like, how confident are you that you don't need to really stay on top of Weeha? He's been pulling back. Like, he had 1 stack that he was able to farm up. They're now prepping another set for him, but Weeha, we saw what he did yesterday. It was global presence, an uncatchable global presence.
In this game, it's catchable.
Look at him go. Jara is just moving over. It's like, wait, I'm fairly certain there was meant to be a Tinker here, but Tinker's moved back to the mid lane.
Good defensive ward from Kuro, placed there on the around the top rune. So they do realize the movement's coming and they back out. But Somnus still has haste for a little bit. Okay, I thought he was maybe even thinking about diving, but he's gonna try to get denies. We'll get a couple by the looks of it.
Means Kuro's going to protect the stacks now, keeping the ET away, and puts a 1-1 lane up on top.
But yeah, I'm not sure how much you have to invade the Tinker here. You don't want to complete free farm, but considering he's already been solo killed by maybe mid, you've already slowed him down that good amount. And if you let him farm some jungle, in comparison to the game we saw from him yesterday on Tinker, this time he just flat out has a worse matchup. Spectre is one of the classic hard counters to Tinker. Can always find him and get on top of him. And if Spectre finds Tinker, you can follow up. That's the whole power of this lineup. You have Stampede to get heroes in range. You have the Elder Titan Spirit that can get on top of Tinker as well and stomp him. Plenty of problems this game for Weeha, even if he has a good game.
Great vision being planted down by Kuro. Used a defensive ward that was able to protect the Tinker from being ganked up. The Somnus rotation, now his observed ward watches FY coming to the mid. It won't see the smoke of X-Nova as well as Somnus as once again they move in.
Don't want to get mirrored. Stampede is coming online. This is the perfect timing for this move. And they're also going to use the opportunity to place a deep lane ward top, but it looks like Miracle realizes something fishy here.
GH is coming around the back lines. Miracle has Chronosphere available. X-Nova got on the wrong side of the tracks. The arrow will connect. Miracle just needs a couple of hits. And down goes X-Nova. They back out of the fight. Somnus is already back over in mid lane, where FY is trying to get his level 6.
They're probably going to be anticipating that some vision must have been placed by LGD here when they smoked the ET and the Gyro in together, but they have no idea which ward it is. There's multiple pings coming out from Liquid. Is it this one? Is it this one? They might check the real one last.
They're going top. Invis rune from Somnus wants to work. Miracle just time walks himself away. Somnus will see this, but coming into the tier 1 tower, it's something they want to do. As Weeha can now finally take these stacks with rearm and a level 3 march to the machines. This will start to move his net worth up the field. He was the only... Oh, jeez. There's 3 heroes above 3k, and he wants to join them, just able to do so.
And Liquid are going to give Kuro some space mid, and FY is going to take space from LGD. Both supports looking to get these levels. And this is the danger when you play these tri-lanes in the start, even if it was only for 3 or 4 minutes. Kuro's level 3, minute 9. GH is level 5.5, so that's good. But on LGD's side, it's kind of similar. X-Nova has mainly been stacking and moving around towards, so also pretty low on those levels. Whereas FY is looking at a level 6 in mid, so pretty even across the board overall on levels.
That's a lot of stacks they're prepared inside the jungle. Have they got enough to clear through this with Ame?
I'm gonna say no.
With 2 points dispersion, there's like the second point in flat cannon just came into Somnus too. Dangerous prospect to leave that up if like Weeha would even feel remotely confident to move across the river. But I don't think we'll get through one of them.
Yeah, there's no way Weeha comes over here. If anybody does, it's the Tiny of Mind Control that could walk up and try to steal some of it. But looks like Ame can at least farm the medium camp double stack, so that's for him. The hard camp double stack will kill him right now, but he might stack it one more time before the 10-minute mark, maybe stick around for the shrine, but no, he's going to go all the way back to base. Maybe try to get ready to haunt for the rune, but he's actually late for that. So I think LGD will be settling for a 2-for-2 rune trade this time around instead of the 4-0 they got last time.
Yeah, less mind control. He's looking for the avalanche. That'll create the space. X-Nova, however, still was able to pick up the bounty room. Mind control will get one of the charges from the bounty in bottom. Top lane's just been sitting on the edge. FY is looking for enough steal. Starfall from GH will be the thing he can grab right now.
Yep, we'll take it. It's good for farming. He already has his first wave of their spell stolen now, so he can push out waves really quickly if he wants to. Does a lot of spell damage in order to get solo kills together, or well, not solo kills in that case, but combo kills together with Centaur, where he does the majority of the damage from Rubik. Now the Moonlight Shadow Liquid. They want to try to make a move. Look at how insanely good vision LGD have. All these 5 wards planted defensively, and they do see GH fading into invisibility. So they know exactly where Liquid are moving up. Gonna move into the dire jungle. But LGD have nobody there.
Like we're trying to be a little bit sly about leaving the observer ward, but nope, doesn't work with the gang, so they get rid of the ops. Their vision starting to time out, so fresh ones must be planted. The 2 observer wards that Liquid planted around that 6-minute mark are now starting to decay. So they've only got 1 observer ward watching near the bottom rune area. Meanwhile, LGDs are still behind between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers in mid and top lane.
Somebody's going to come and defend mid. LGD are just letting GH and Kuro, the 2 supports.
With catapult wave.
Half a tower with the catapult, almost a full one by now, and finally FY shows up. They were so scared of a rotation because of the Moonlight Shadow, I think, that Liquid used earlier, that other Liquid heroes were in the neighborhood, but not the case. They do defend the tower, but man, I think Kuro is going to be very happy with that. From 2 supports mid and almost getting full to 11 minutes in. It's very nice.
Wonder what LGD were like prioritizing for elsewhere. Now level 8 is up, so he's still only like, because we just throw everything into the tree throw. It's only a 2-1 combination with the avalanche toss. Not that instant kill you kind of look for, but Arme's returned to the lane. I'll keep my control away from the tower. Trying to go for this hand of Midas build from the spec. Understanding late game is the game for LGD. Mid lane. Yeah, there's that combination. FY can't stand against it. Now ET and Somnus looking for that fight as well on mind control. He'll go with his avalanche toss once again, but 3 heroes together. Nowhere to get out. 2 of them being the cause for LGD.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And we haven't talked about Ame's plans for items here. He's going to go the Midas that has become popular in Spectre in the last year. In the past, you would never see this item. You would always go either a Mantle Diffusal build or a Radiance build, sometimes with an optional drum or optional upgraded boots on the way. As for Miracle, he has a different farming item. He's going the Maelstrom on Void, ramping up that farm nicely as well. It's a different approach. But both heroes very happy with getting these items around these times that they've got them. Spectre clearly behind that of the Void. 1,500 gold as a matter of fact.
And they're really pulling a lot of flame. Chalice able to bring down Miracle. Miracle probably feeling confident that he could have just stomped himself away, but Charles' damage really took him by surprise.
That was very unexpected. Chalice's top net worth. He was 0-3, remember? He actually got killed 3 times in the start of the game in his time home.
And now he's the first person to crack 6,000 in the net worth.
He has recovered in a big way, and that shows, you know, when you see players like this, there are some players that get killed multiple times in lane and they get frustrated and they tilt and they lose control of the game. Chalice is just ice cold. Being able to recover like this when you get so focused is just world class.
LGD will make the most of the space. Getting that last bit of farm to the Gyrocopter, still trying to get Somnus towards that BKB of his. As long as he doesn't die towards the creeps, he'll be absolutely fine. But Team Liquid adding pressure towards the mid. GH will claim that tier 1 tower.
Important that GH actually got an attack off there. That would have been a deny by FY. GH secures it. Closing in on Force Staff. His go-to build on Mirana this tournament has been Force Staff into Lotus, I think.
Chrono. Here we go. Over on next north. The arrow will be able to kill Miracle. It was kind of already a pretty short kill, but he had to Chrono because Kuruk wasn't in range for the disruption.
It's kind of a low-value Chrono, though. Especially right before the bounty runes. LGD, if they were ready for it, could maybe even have chosen to try to fight here. But their heroes are not able to connect top in time, so they will grab the 2 bottom runes. But absolutely defend their disruption now, I think.
Here we go again. They're trying to come in with the avalanche. We're tossed up. Miracle's moving over. But Spectre's already dead before he can arrive. Mind control now. That's a good value kill. And while all this is going on, Weeha's getting more and more farm. Once he gets the Blink Dagger, these side lanes, they're a lot more playable for Weeha. Probably going to be better once Spectral Horn is down, however.
He's progressing pretty well as well. And this Ame diff is big. It actually might lose them the top tower because I think LGD might have wanted to defend this tower since there's no Chronosphere and they have really strong timing with the Centaur Dagger. But at this point, with Ame dying like this and losing control of the area, they're just gonna leave it alone, keep pressuring bottom, see how much they can get.
I'm loving the way they approach the towers too. X-Nova's like, I need to check the trees. Spirit in there every single time, making sure there's no hidden tinker, there's no heavy march machines, even quick sentry ward being dropped down. No invis, no shenanigans. Kuro, Charles just jumped in, mind control, the back line, the arrow. He's still staying close with the Stampede. They try and get closer. The face is void. They throw him back, at least get the one-man stop. But Miracle chasing down X-Nova in the trees. FY is hit high. He actually stole the arm out of all of this. And he'll just TP away to safety.
Get Reom and TP back out.
FY gets as close to Tinker as he possibly can.
Why is he not rearmed?
That's a very good question.
Maybe didn't think about it?
It's like, oh wait, does this work on TP scrolls? Out of the way. LGD, that's the first real encounter we've had from the teams, apart from just these pickoffs moving from one lane to the other. Took about 16 minutes for it to happen, and the tier 2 tower almost died for it. But Liquid, it looks like they're ready to fight once more. Chronosphere is up, the Blink Dagger's on the tiny for his initiation. Kuro also needs to get a ward mission out. He's got 5 observer wards, just planted 1 down now. This is a full ward mission from Team Liquid.
And they're hoping to find a core as well. They might walk into on it.
Here we go. Avalanche tossed to big Squid jumping forward with the Starfall. They have the damage. Spectral Helm was down. There was no escaping. Weeha moving into the tree line away from X-Nova's stop.
Hasted and Moonlight Shadow. That's a really hard hero to kill, and he'll get out easily.
I love where they're waiting, like Charles and X-Nova in the tree lines. They're sitting inside the trees where we've seen Weeha yesterday blink to move up the lane and get more March machines down the wave. But this time around, Weeha moves back to the mid lane.
These 2 kills on Spectre that Liquid have found are super important for them. Ame has... I think the second kill is more forgivable because there was an aggressive smoke into his supposedly safe part of the jungle. But the first one at the top tier 1 tower, I think he felt a little bit bad about that one because it was a relatively easy read mid lane.
Here we go again. Avalanche going to be on target. Early drop charges from Somnus the trigger. He's going to use him to get aggressive on mind control. The homing missiles coming in as Weeha puts down the cover fire. Do you want to come in? They're coming in away from March Machine. Miracle. He has the time walk himself away. Defensive disruption. Bro able to save him from the ET splitter while mind control gets up on the high ground, removes that aggressive vision that FI was trying to get down. So LGD had some information for this fight. And they're ready to go again. Mind control. We have seen Tiny time and time again clear a wave, get that tossed back, and force whatever team into a horrible position for a fight.
And a rare miss from EH. If that arrow hits, that should just have been a flat-out kill on Gyro, but mistakes do happen.
It's like, I don't know exactly where Kuro is going to walk. It's like the toss back to a target.
Yeah. A little bit tricky to land these. Liquid have done an excellent job lately in lower bracket with hitting difficult spell combos and having really good timing with, for example, their Darkseers. But that one did not work out. There's more and more time being bought for this Spectre. You have to remember this is a Spectre that went Midas first item, so even though Spectre is this almost 2,000 gold behind Void, net worth on Spectre is insanely valuable. If you get later on in the game and he's still 2k behind the Void in 5 or 10 minutes, this gold just transforms into so much damage and tankability in the fights, and vision even, with the haunts.
Charles has claimed the tier 2 tower on bottom lane. Liquid, he said, like, there's a lot of time wasted by LGD looking for these fights from Liquid. They're actually looking at Mind Control, who grabbed the Invis rune, so FY was just stalking him in the mid lane, but it never came. And what happened? Once again, Centaur, not part of a team fight. He's down on the bottom lane, pushing it, at least claiming the gold, and this will allow also the bounty runes to go in 2-2 split. Centaur's getting bigger and bigger. Now Vanguard completed, already got the pipe, and the Crimson's on its way.
And they're going to smoke out. S3 behind Son. Looks like trying to set up a bait. He's going to run up the high ground and get caught on purpose, but...
Avalanche toss actually sending him back inside the banishment. Not exactly what they wanted, but the 5-second arrow will connect on Somnus. But this just allows Liquid to disengage, or doesn't. Stampede forward, Moonlight Shadow now burned by Team Liquid. As they turn around to come back once more, Miracle adds Chronosphere up. And they're looking for a target. They find the other time. Perch him up with the time locks. My lord, that damage. They didn't have to burn the Chronosphere, but mind control. Avalanche toss. FY too far away. He's actually got the time on Miracle. There's another Chronosphere. Charles and Rubik.
towards Kuro with their black cannon. Arrow, Chalice, he doesn't care. Walk straight in front of it. But LGD, commitment did come in from Rubik to buy back for that fight.
I think you're pretty happy with that. It's like LGD tried to smoke into you, you repelled them. They tried to chase further, you turn around, get 2 kills and buyback forced. It's not the end of the world for LGD, of course. It was the Rubik buyback and not that of a core.
Here we go. That's how fast X-Nova died. I don't even think that was a full second.
And the LGD from the BKB from Somnus as well, being used in that. So that's a 10-second charge to only kill off a Shadow Demon.
You can see the way Team Liquid played it though. Like, okay, Kuro died, but Somnus went through that entire 10-second BKB, and like, what do you get from it? Like, how does LGD keep them in position? Spectre jumps in. Like, are you cleaning off the back lines? Are you focusing down the Tinker? Tinker didn't even really feel like he had an influence in that fight.
No. When Ame came in, they had used their stuns and their initiation already. Ideally, what LGD's lineup wants to do is to be the initiators and just jump in and start the fight, and then you haunt, get vision, and play the fight according to your vision. But when it's Liquid with the high ground advantage, when it's Liquid with the Moonlight Shadow, it makes it a lot harder to use the spells correctly and find the target here.
Here we go again. Avalanche toss. Here's your BKB. There's the 9-second one down, but Microtron, he may be the sacrifice. Kuro's going to give him a little bit of extra time with the disruption. He can't flick himself away from this, and Microtron will fall. The Purge, any kind of disruption. Not able to do it. Now Stampede in. Chalice, they're looking towards Kuro. They can't break free. Kuro, he definitely is the sacrifice. He can throw out at least a catcher. But now look towards mid as Weeha jumping after Ame. Rearmed, does he want to keep the pressure on? No, he doesn't. Just control the mid lane. He's down to heroes, and this is where Liquid got a lot of strength last time they played the Tinker on this main stage. They bought time. Even when a fight doesn't go their way, instantly Weeha's pressuring the other lanes.
And that's why the Spectre pick is so important, because are you actually buying time for a win condition in this game? Is this favoring you to play like this?
It kind of feels like it when you've got the Tiny and the Void together. Like the volley into Chronosphere, you can still win those high ground fights.
The volley might be the X factor in this game, because if you look at these lineups from before the new eggs, I would say Dire going late game, they will be happy to do so against this team. But with all this new damage coming out from Tiny, it could be better for Liquid. I'm just a bit concerned that, yeah, sure, I mean, you're delaying the game, but you're also not taking in towers. You're not putting additional pressure on that, because neither lineup has very good sieging whatsoever. Both teams have taken 2 towers only 24 minutes in. They can't really Roche, because both lineups are also pretty bad at that. So I'm kind of just this farming game, and farming games historically are just so good for Spectre.
Yeah.
Maybe Silver Edge can be a solution later. That could be something they can work around it with. But for now, I think LGD are pretty happy with their situation. So Dota Plus, giving them 3-1, actually. Dota Plus loves Spectre.
Of course it would.
So,
but it doesn't know what we know as well. But this new combination that's just been wrecking the main stage and a little bit of the group stage of TI9. Charles is looking to try and fight, but that is not the target they want. 2.6k, they're actually going to stampede. They're not finding a target, however. All of Liquid's back. In fact, you've got Mind Control pushing in the top lane. Kuro is continuously de-warding the LGD primary jungle. And the Centaur Illusions are watching Roshan. That's it. No one else is close to any other objectives on the map.
And it's an even boundary and trade again.
It feels like there's so much pressure on Team Liquid to hit that fantastic Chronosphere or always control the side lanes.
It's true. I think compared to other Void games we've seen from Liquid, there's a lot of pressure on Miracle in this game. I think just getting a good one-hero chrono is not going to cut it in this game. Even if you chrono the gyro or whatever, the response LGD have later, I think it's just too overpowering. Even if you can kill one core with the chrono, if they have a buyback, they can run you down with Stampede and Haunt, and you end up not getting a favorable fight.
Do you even pop the Stampede during the Chronosphere once the Aghanim Sept? Because the Aghanim Sept is coming quickly. It's what's that, 2100 away from being completed on the Centaur?
You do that for Gyro. I don't know if you do it for anyone else. You might not even do it for Spectre, just because Spectre can buyback Haunt and they can run people down. It was one of the integral parts of OG's victory last year when they put their Spectre lineups. They just took advantage of Ana's ability to tank a lot of damage on his carry, and then if he does get killed, he can buy back and come back in. And you can't ignore that factor from the Spectre in fights. Spell still coming out.
He's got Time Walk again. It's a good initiation. And as we saw her escape from FY before.
And how confident challenge this. Maybe a bit too much here.
Disruption, catcher. Arrow is going to connect as well. Perfect start. They're going to force arm him down. That's FY hanging in the neighborhood of Miracle. The problem is my control free with the apple speed. He's done himself up. Maybe it's not enough damage anymore. It's in the back line. He's killing Okura, the first casualty of this team fight. And the Cronin Spear. In some trouble. Tinker gonna buy back in. He knows he needs to do some more damage. Charles is still trying to go head against Mind Control. Mind Control doesn't have the life for this. Maybe with a toss-up he can push Chalice away. But where is this control? You brought back Weehaw, but they can't stay on top of him. LGD are all getting out of here.
They only got Somnus for that Weehaw buyback.
They have to take Roshan now. Arrow is down for 50 seconds. Mind Control's going to regen on the Shrine with GH, but Miracle, he's starting this up.
Elder Titan has spawned. He's going to go scout it out. There is no way Liquid get this. They don't have the damage. When this Elder Titan Spirit starts coming them out,
they're giving it a shot. They have the 30-second window. Time walk away. Miracle, he'll watch the stop. Arme's throwing out the now hooked on forward, a 4-star. GH trying to get Kuro away to safety. He's in close. Miracle trying to storm down with a time down. But Kuro's already gone down. LGD's arrived, but man, Miracle's done all the hard work for him. Roshan, he has to be contested by LGD.
That's really bad news for Liquid. They don't have Chrono for this fight. Good arrow.
Oh, 5 seconds on the arrow. It's gonna maybe make LGD think twice. They need Tinker behind to put down marching machines inside the pit. They need some cover fire to dissuade LGD from being in Mind Control. He'll go for the avalanche shot. He didn't have information for Roshan. He thought it was probably a little arrow. 5 seconds to get over on Charles. Mind Control. Another quick touch. He's gonna get out there. There's those marching machines for Roshan. Miracle jump back in again. Roshan, he goes to the radiant. Miracle has the Aegis, the Immortal. Now for a battle. Head to head with Thomas. That's BKB. It's such a low duration. Miracle keep getting time lock at the time lock. He is the master of time. And the arrow, another 5 seconds. They just keep on coming. Mind Control hits the avalanche centaur. The step pin on 88 HP. He'll go up the hill and flicks towards the Shrine. LGD, they're disengaging. They want more. He flicked the top of the Shrine. The chainsaw is going to be there. They're in range of the 71. That's why they can see them in the moonlight shadow. He's trying to hit this entire team. All by himself. Miracle has to stop it. It's a time back from him. He's just dominating the game.
The presence of mind in that moment to steal Avalanche and catch 2 heroes, one of which was the Miracle Boy, the Chrono Mind Control. He went too far.
He's just trying to push the lane, trying to create space. And LGD, they get a bonus in their gift bag.
From one insane play to the other, the Miracle Roche steal to begin with, jumping into the BKB. He not only got the Aegis, he got the kill on Roche too. Then they keep chasing up, and FY with a huge defensive play. And you're going to see the start of it here. And the arrows from GH, if just one of these arrows miss, it's a totally different situation. But this is the opening for Miracle. Gets the kill, gets the Aegis. Does not have the Chrono yet, though. That's why Somnus will eventually get away from this and reset up to the Shrine. The 4-step from FY, buying the space into Stomp. That's the first arrow. Maybe if Miracle focused on the Centaur a little bit earlier, they could have got Chalice here. He ends up resetting too. And Weehaw wants to go for that chase, doesn't find him. He rearms and blinks up. And that's the start of a disaster. Weehaw going greedy here, blinking into the Shrine, sets up for a long fight where Liquid have to come in and help, and this Avalanche will right here, huge. Just as the Chrono comes out, I mean, it's also nice that Miracle Chrono the Tinker for him. Yeah. I'm gonna look about that and why.
We're gonna come back to real life right now as Kuro dead again, looking to bounce around the map on the back of that Spectral Horn. Maybe a little bit sad he only was able to pick up the XD.
But you talk about that net worth increase on a Spectre. He's going to be a little happier moving towards that heart. Centaur is by far. Chatless was the one. He was total trash. He was thrown out. He was a rejected Centaur. He is now 16,300 worth of net worth in the Centaur. Stampede, Crimson and Pipe. It's the disengage. It's the sustain. It's what's allowing LGD to do what they're doing. And allowing FY to just be ballsy as hell.
He might be the first trash of the main event that Liquid can't take out. It actually struggling a lot in this game. And their chances, they're dwindling by the minute. The advantage is becoming way too overwhelming. How many Spectre games have we seen like this in the history of the International? When teams get this kind of a lead with Spectre, I don't even want to know what the win rate is. It's got to be absurd. Liquid, they need to find some crazy chronos, need to get a Silver Edge probably to deal with it later on. Or an Aghanim Scepter on Shadow Demon would also be nice to get those breaks off. Perhaps the third Roshan, if it has that, when we get to that stage, if we get to that stage.
We have the Axe on Tani though, so Liquid can focus on the simple combinations. The Faceless Void Chronosphere into the tree toss of Mind Control, and actually having Weeha doing some damage. Like, obviously, we knew he was going to blink forward. If there was one thing we took from Weeha's games yesterday, it was this brash confidence of youth that he just wanted to jump in there every single time, push it, and the rest of Liquid come with him. The same kind of way that Anna does it for OG, but in that part of the fight, like, yeah, Miracle could not find the perfect chrono.
Don't click Spectre yet. How much do you think it has?
I'm going to go like 3.5. Just feeling that.
3,720 health
Close.
with the dispersion.
It's almost the price is right.
You can chrono this Spectre and have Tiny and Tinker do everything perfectly, and still doesn't die. You need soul capture. So Kuro has to be involved in these plays to kill off the Spec. I know I'm talking about the Spectre a lot, but I just feel like the hero, whenever it's in a game like this, it just deserves so much attention with how the games generally play out. And even though he didn't have the perfect start, Ahmed's in a great spot right now. Worth highlighting too, Somnus went Dagger on Gyro. The idea here is you hunt, and the moment you see Tinker, he's going to jump straight on top of him with this Gyro and blow him up. Weeha, until he has this BKB, which he can afford now, but then not at buyback, will just get blown up by Gyro. He's going to solo him if he gets vision. So plenty of problems to solve here for Liquid.
They have damage issued. It's able to penetrate the resistance of LGD. They have the inability to do full global. Xnova is actually just camping in the trees at the bottom lane. He's put down a Tinker, both on the server and at the entry wall. There's no shenanigans. The BKB has arrived now for Weeha. And here's the TP forward. Xnova, he knows Weeha's here. It's the same type of movement that Weeha's done time and time again on his Tinker. Up the trees, push the wave. And LGD smoked up, but they're not ready to go just yet. It feels like Xnova's not enough to work with the Spectre just to get that straight up kill.
They might have gone for it if we had enough BKB. But I think Xnova clicked Weeha when he came in. He called the BKB out. If you hunt for that, Weeha's going to BKB TP out. Oh, maybe he's still hunting for him here.
They're looking for Tiny. He's tree tossing from the trees, but he blinks into the wave. Hoping to start chasing Mind Control, and maybe with a hook stomp, and they stampede forward, hoping this up connect. And Tiny, well, FY stole tree volley. It's not the greatest thing to steal from Rubik.
Trying. They didn't get him. Weeha outplaying him there and getting away. But you can clearly see what the game is. Xnova hunting Tinker. We go as a 3-man unit and hunt somebody else, and Spectre farm. You can connect with either of the plays that we find on the map. And Liquid's game plan is let's not fight. They are.
I think they might.
So far, they've just been avoiding moves for a couple of minutes now with Chrono ready. They just don't want to take these fights. They don't feel favored.
They see Centaur in the bottom lane. The arrow's going to fly just shy of Somnus, but the Chrono called for remove. It was going to be a second too late.
Well, at least he didn't cast it.
They cannot afford to have such a huge ability go on cooldown. Even though like, it's a 2-minute cooldown, he's not going in the Ags. It's a satanic style build for Miracle. But he's got a long way to jump with that plus 500 time walk cast range. They're able to get that initiation. The question is always, though, can the rest of Liquid keep up with him? I don't think he'll actually need that long cast range in a bit because LGD, how long is it until they want to come high ground? I keep my eye on Roshan. He may respawn in about a minute.
Yeah, they're definitely not high grounding on Aegis. And I think they might give it to Gyro, honestly. Even though Spectre is the centerpiece of the lineup toward the later portions of the game, having an Aegis on Gyro Spectra can always buy back and haunt back in, and Gyro can then start sieging the base as well, with the Aghanims coming up as his next item.
Yeah, how weird is it to actually see that coming up as like your... Well, it's your third major item outside the blink of the drums.
Yeah, exactly. This feels like the first Gyro game we've seen at the main event where he does not go Ags, just like first main item. Maybe you'll get a drum first, but then we've seen Ag pretty much every single game. But Somnus adapted to the game, prioritized getting the early BKB, feeling like that was going to be a timing for Liquid that he had to be able to get them across to get to the state in the game. It's been an excellent choice. His BKB has actually been extremely important when you look at how these team fights have gone. He would not have done the same with an Axe.
The time is about to come up on Roshan, and it's 144.
5.2k health.
My lord.
5.2k health, high magic resistance, Crimson Guard, physical reduction.
And then he's going to go Shiva on top of that, and he's already got himself, what was that, 8 plus 15 armor?
Well, the good news is...
He's in range of Vlad.
Soul Catcher deals 2,000 damage now.
That's
on him.
That's terrific, and maybe if you can kill him, you can even get yourself an illusion of him. He can fight against you.
Yep.
That was the one thing. Kuro, even though he's like he's been ripped on level, he's the lowest level of the field, still's like, no, I'm gonna get an illusion out of this. I'm gonna put a catcher down. We're gonna find kills. Moonlight Shadow once again. Miracle just wants to initiate. They have a great observer and sentry down. They see Somnus. They see a huge target as well. Oh, no, they see nothing anymore. The top lane, great mana style, time dilation, arm main, Sam will get him away. And the rest of LGD, they're thinking if they want to fight. The arrow was thrown out by GH with a little bit of a quick scout, and they still know they're in the trees. But look at this presence from LG. They understand they need to get the vision. Here we go. Miracle. He jumps in. Homing missile's going to come his way. He's going to BKB instantly and fly. Going to jump himself away as quick as he possibly can with time warp stall. And he just moves away from the BKB. Miracle. Hold up. Catching Kuro on the back line. GH want to get the hell out of here. It's now the time to actually Kuro. The homing missiles are coming in. They're surrounded on all sides, trying to TP away to safety. Tiny squeeze this one out. Inside the pocket ball. But LGD, they were the ones being initiated on fight, but Liquid, they never saw the opportunity, or they never wanted to take it.
They found the worst possible target. They found an Elder completely on his own. They can't.
He's lost and he'll bring down Somnus. A huge streak to end.
100 gold.
He's rich. He's glorious.
He's top net worth now.
He at least fights the Aghanim Scepter, so he doesn't lose any money. But LGD taking Roshan. What have you even got, team? They can't contest this. Mirana might be able to try and throw an arrow, but it's already too late. Roshan, 1,500 now. 0. It's all LGD. And everyone. BKB TP away to safety. Kuro, he does not want to die again. 8 is enough for the moment, but I think it might be a 9. He's moving back on the base. Mind control needs to create a little bit of extra space as LGD think about coming up. Chalice, he won't just think about it. He'll do it now with the volley. Chalice, we'll see how he can take or take. Underneath the tier 3, toward the tier 4.
Looks like Liquid are just going to concede these barracks. This void buyback is way too important. It's more important than the barrack. There's no mid lane for them to take yet because the tier 2 is still covered.
They're trying.
So LGD will back.
Okay. Avalanche, can they toss it back over? There's already a pickup. FY's got the range, he's got the arrow, and Blankenshot can
couldn't protect him. Chalice finds that kill. 5.3k HP on this Centaur. It's that point when she
when cheese actually isn't a good thing to have on a Centaur because it doesn't do enough.
It's still better on him than the Spectre because of the Aegis, but he might pass over the cheese to Somnus. It's a possible play to swap that over instead of the drum. They're going to do exactly that.
And Team Liquid are giving everything they've got, but LGD is just really starting to work them with, well, I say really starting to, it's been working for a while for them. The golden experience graph ever since the 20-minute mark, it was so close. And everything is LGD's way. Charles, his team is so far away from him. FY's back at the tier 2 tower. And Charles is like, it's fine.
Hey, you want an arrow? Here's an arrow for Somnus. Charles is going to dodge it, so it hits the gyro in the back. But yeah, Liquid, you've got to play for your high ground now. I think any fight taken outside of base is inherently unfavorable right now. Just Aegis and cheese, there's buybacks.
Spectre goes for the bottom lane. He's going to stop him. Lost under the tier 4 towers. But it's Chalice. He's in so deep. Stampede being used defensively. The lasers and rockets, any kind of spam they can get from range, can they get into the pickup? Mind Control tosses off cooldown right now. The arrow flies forward. It won't connect on anybody. They're all a little bit too short. As the high ground defense, kind of difficult for Mind Control. Not a lot of trees to use inside your base unless you're playing on the side lanes.
It's very, very true. And that is problematic. Any fight around the mid lane makes tree volley almost impossible for him to use inside the base. Top bottom, there's more options because you have the tree line in the bottom of the map. Just, I want to point out too how LGD are playing the map. They're playing this really aggressive 4-man bottom. The Centaur was semi-diving mid and got kind of caught when he got tossed, and then he still gets out with Stampede. The whole time, Somnus is farming jungle. They know they have this complete grip on the map. They're just maximizing profits.
Radiance.
That's a good interest rate. LGD. Taking forever. Like, okay, Arme is, come on, man. Like, he needs a little bit of extra help here. It's only a minute and a half to bring down the Shrine. Tink is pushing out the lanes in the meantime, trying to find that burst damage with refreshed Aegon. No, we are. Careful, careful, careful. He's got Blink available. He's going to go for, okay. A Blink and TP away to safety. Arme feeling his air spectral daggers through the trees. He's already gone for the negative 10-second cooldown timer on that, so he's totally fine. Hit the 25 with a +6 dispersion. Able to connect, but then again, Charles jumps himself for defensive disruption. Actually going to dodge all the abilities and the Storm Sleep. Knowing Miracle just to time walk himself away. And they really, Charles is like, please, I want it. The arrow, a little bit too late. First speed does come down, fighting with the ball. Like inside the tree line, they get through the Centaur. That's one upside for them. And tossing back the Spectre under the tier 3 tower with another avalanche. They keep the control over on Arme. X-Nova wants to put them to sleep with more space. Arrow. Yeah, they get another one. It's out. Arme's waiting. Now the Aegis, he actually gets his regeneration burn up as well, but the head of Black Cannon. Giant Buster. Hits Kuro down hard. Some of the time they're over with the laser. Tom's coming back. The Dagon. They're doing it. They're breaking through the heroes. Rubik as well. You can take on yourself, Tinker, but now with the treetops, one more flying out. F1. 49 HP is getting away. The arrow's too far up too. The Shadow Poison. Will that clip him? It does, but he's got 100 HP. Gonna load us all up in a Glimmer Cape as well. They're trying to find him. FY playing beneath his own vision. Weehar's here, but he sees nothing. Now he'll see the Rubik. They got him down. And Team Liquid, they fight back for the first time in 20 minutes to their advantage against LGD.
That was an incredible hold. The way they started off on the Centaur Chalice walks in. Soul Catcher is the reason they can still win this game. It really feels like it. They need to Soul Catcher the Centaur and just take him down. During the capture, they get the chrono off, they get the kill. It's going to force out a buyback from FY.
Liquid, how much do you really want to take it? Think of taking care of your side lanes. There's no Spectral Horn for 32 seconds. I'll make him TP back if he needs to. For the moment, he's waiting for the 45-minute money race. He doesn't even want to be here for this. They're trying to get the cash in. Centaur's 8 seconds away from buyback. They at least get the fortification, Liquid, but they won't get much more. But they get space. I think that Tinker definitely wants, but you've still got that ticking time bomb of Spectre Army. He's got Nullifier completed as well, so an instant control if LGD fight on their terms.
If Liquid win this game, It will be the first time ever on the main stage of TI that 100% game has been swung. Dota Plus gave LGD 100% chance to win. It's obviously rounded up, but
they say 90.999 recurring, of course.
This is a game where you have to understand just how far Liquid are behind and how exactly things need to pan out for them to be able to win fights. And that one defense was the start of what could be one of the greatest comebacks of all time if they managed to do it.
Oh, Sam, don't you jinx it on that one. We'd love to get to this type of quality, but LGD, they're starting to itemize very strongly. Charles is looking towards a BKB. He feels like he needs a little more than just the Sheev just got. He switched up his item build. The courier will bring it out to him, more than likely. A Bloodthorn build. Now the new build as well from Somnus. He went with the Basher. He'll have to switch out his phase boost in order to get this.
Like the switch up from Chalice. He changed away from Shiva's guard. He was considering Shiva, but now he's going BKB. Oh, he's now switching to AC.
Okay.
I like that one. Because I feel like they need a solution to the Soul Catch. They have a Lotus Orb on FY. What else do they have? Is that the only Dispel they have? I mean, it's enough if he's in range, right? If he's there to save the Centaur, he should be okay.
But it's going to be difficult. And I'm also wondering how LGD continue to do damage. You're talking about like how crap a lot of the building damage is. You're getting an Aghanim Scepter build coming in for Weeha. This is gonna bounce. And LGD, they're gonna have a hard time actually inflicting damage in the fight. Arrow will fly in, will hit onto the illusion of the gyrocopter, but Roshan is up. It's a refresher shard inside of this Roshan. No Aghanim's upgrade. But in this game, it feels like Refresher Shot is just the bread and butter for every team.
Yeah, it's huge. 2 Chronos, or 2 Stampedes, or 2 Hunts, whichever one you prefer. It's a really big grab for either team.
Team Liquid have the Observer and Sentry up on the hill. They're going to smoke up. They see Somnus that loves to go on him. Chance is right behind him. Here's your ambush. Off, but then Somnus moves away. Chance! He almost the back line. He's on the through. In fact, he controls so long as well. Somnus down the chronosphere and caught the gyrocopter of a miracle. He has to kill him in here. They're trying to escape. GH doesn't need the sentry board. FY's one to stick around with him. For the rest of LGD, run forward. They're chasing Miracle. The homing missile is after him. GH has finally gone down to FY. Weeha's already pushing out the lane. He doesn't want anything to do with this. But with these deaths, do you feel confident enough now, LGD, to go in for Roshan?
I think you do. You have the Mans already again on Ame. It's the primary way of killing Roche. There's even an Arcane Rune for him, so the cooldown is super short. He's going to use it now and get to work. And you were talking about damage from LGD. There's a couple of solutions for them. Ame's getting close to Bloodthorn. Somnus buying the Basher is actually pretty genius for 2 reasons. First of all, obviously, if he gets on top of someone, it can Basher could be the difference between a kill and a death, but it's also stunning Miracle while he's Chrono because of the Side Gunner. I think he got 1 Basher proc in that last Chronosphere. And, it's 1.5 seconds.
Oh, Miracle. What are you doing here? And walk away. Oh, quick as he possibly can. Somnus with the blink dagger. And now Miracle. BKB versus BKB. No Chronosphere available for either side. Miracle will just time walk off the damage. Now, PTB out. Miracle's down. He can reset the count with a buyback challenge. He's already at the tier 3 tower, but he's kind of by himself. A very, very deep in. Catcher and Purge him. Weeha needs a little bit more damage to bring him down. Arrows flying well off target. Charles is dropping low. Remember, he's got the Aegis Immortal. He just wants to claim this tier 3 tower by himself. He's consumed the Aghanim Scepter to free up the space. Ame will complete by killing off the tower. Refresher Shard, Nullifier, Spectral Horn, everything's going to be up for Ame in just a second.
This time, I don't think Miracle can hold the buyback.
Deep, goes for the disrupt. One shot trying to give him a little bit more time. The arrow is going to be soaked up by the illusion. Kuro's dead. No buyback available for him. The melee rack is taken. Ame going out through the bottom. Weeha wants to save it, but do they have enough? Mind control. Fleets off cooldown in just a second. He throws out the volley, but the Spectral dagger, the push is just too fast away. Here comes Chalice once again. Hey, would you mind giving me a charge? They gave him 1.
Liquid Looks like they held, but it cost a Void back, it cost a Shadow Demon life, and it cost a mid lane Racked.
They also down the melee racks up on top, so both top as well as middle are crippled for the moment.
And there's 4 bounties going the way of LGD, and they still have Aegis and Refresher Shard. The cheese is on Rubik.
Yeah. Hey, he needs the mana right now, it seems. Still building into the side.
And this is not the ideal hero for them to have the Aegis on Centaur. You'd probably rather have it on the Gyro, but it also at the same time means that Chalice can siege. If he has stacks on Retaliate, he can run in and hit this tower, and it's going to force Liquid to respond. But you kind of don't want to go on it, but you have to. He just hits too hard with 13 stacks of Retaliate.
Control needs these troops to respawn. He doesn't have anything to work with. The arrow flies forward. Chalice I probably wished he took that. Spectre's using illusions and herself to push in the top lane. Spectral Haunt will get it to the front lines no matter what. This just side lane pressure being applied against Team Liquid. Challenge with the Aegis, pops a long way in. I love the leap, getting him deep underneath the tier 4 tower. They're trying to break free him, and maybe with the volley as well. My control, not free to work with. They break the Aegis Immortal. Armate him very deep, also to the 4 towers. All 3 Hope missiles to connect on Faceless Void. Fortification final time for Team Liquid. Even the creep wave is getting a scratch. Chronosphere, you can see Miracle. He's trying to get closer. They have Sentry Wards down, however. And in Chronos, the backline, the Chopper comes to dying quickly.
Liquid. Dude, that fight's so fucking good. So good. What a crazy game.
If that disruption didn't hit, Somers was dead. They wouldn't have had the damage. We would have kept going.
I'm sure Paul is feeling great right now. He's a big FY fan, as he has said on the panel, and this was an outstanding performance. I mean, there's just, you could make a highlight reel from his plays in this game alone.
Yeah.
He had so many crucial moments with the perfect steals, the catches on the lifts, and in this last fight, very clearly they bait the chrono. The communication in the team is already there. Somnus, you can go bait, I have disruption. Liquid fall for it. I don't think they realized that the disruption was stolen by FY. So Chronos, instant disruption, instant steal the chrono, and kind of style points on the last chrono in the Mirana. Didn't even need it, but...
And you said SD was good. SD was great, but FY, he was every single hero on this map, and he helps push LGD to a series lead 1-0. Great stuff.